Hi, I'm Robert Sherretta of International Investor, and we, in this program, are focusing, again, our attention on China, not just because of its economic development, but particularly because of its trade policy with the United States. We, of course, have followed China many times through the years, but I am delighted to say that we're with a special guest now who has not only just returned from China, but has long given us his observations. They have been most astute in the past, and that's why I'm glad he's here again with us today. His name is Juan Ramon Zarco. Juan, thanks for coming back.
Well, thank you for inviting me again.
We're delighted. And I also want to point out to our audience why we talked to you in the past. I think we figured out it was about 3 or 4 years ago. It was at another China conference, as a matter of fact. And we came to you then because we knew that you had a long history in the development of the capital markets generally, bringing, I guess, companies to find venture capital when they needed it. You're continuing that now, but you also have a law degree, so you really get down to the nitty-gritty of helping them sign contracts and all the protections they may need in doing so, especially with foreign partners or in foreign markets. Is that more or less correct?
Yes. In case of China, the problem is, in many industries, you cannot hold majority ownership. So you do have to have some kind of joint venture.
Well, we know there's a number of problems, but I am really anxious to hear your observations. You just returned from a trip, and just a little bit you've told me, you said, once again, the Chinese might be smarter about doing some things in terms of their development than perhaps we are. Let's talk about that. What was it that you found in particular that really struck you?
Well, everything that they've been doing so far, building infrastructure, from roads to towns, have been to one singular focus: export. The tour that I was given was to show business process outsourcing for IT, and they showed me various, let's say, cities between Shanghai all the way to Beijing, what they were doing. What really shocked me was the ability, let's say, in one town, one area, Guangdong, that they would build from scratch a total infrastructure, office space, hospital, residences for the managers, all focused, singularly focused for business process outsourcing.
So they don't just build a facility, they say to themselves, what is it going to take to have transport in and out? What is it going to take to house the people that are working there? They really try to think through the whole process and how it's going to be connected to the rest of the economy.
Exactly, and they would show how to get, in the case of Shanghai, it was shown one outside operation for IT, for business process outsourcing. They commented on me that they needed employees from Shanghai, but they had no train going all the way to that operation.
Okay, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but we won't even have time to elaborate in this program, but we both know the obstacles that would be in the path of such development here in the United States. There are many, as even those who want to have new infrastructure find out, there are many impediments to that kind of development here.
Yes. Well, it took them 6 months.
6 months in China to create all that.
Right.
Most impressive. I'm sure, I think you and I pointed out that the project just going out to Dulles Airport, I think, is expected to take 10 years just to produce that one infrastructure project alone here. So they are really on a fast track to make this development happen.
Yes, but again, the whole point is that every CEO that I met, IT CEO from China, the only thing they're trying to do here is sell their services for export.
Export.
And doing a competitive nature.
Well, let's get to that. I just came from a downtown conference where we had the Secretary of Commerce talking about this administration is going to finally be the first one that's serious about turning our small businesses in particular into an export-driven economy. Tomorrow I'm going to hear somebody from the USTR to talk about the same subject, I'm sure. At least this administration is saying the right things. I don't know if we're doing enough yet. Do you feel like the United States is doing enough as far as our own trade policy for export?
There's no concerted policy nationwide to do that with. In China, it goes to the top down, from the national government to the provinces to the cities. And the national government helps finance these construction. They help develop an overall policy, what kind of products they want to export. They've gone from manufacturing now to the soft space, namely the IT. And lately, they've even attracted applied materials. One of the so-called sustainable energy companies that we're encouraging to export is reducing their workforce in the United States by 10%. And because of these so-called policies for export in China, they were able to get a 75-year lease, 5-year subsidy of their operations to build solar panels in China, and they're building about 2/3 of the world's solar panels demand right now.
Oh, you're bringing up a sore subject with me. I saw where the largest manufacturer of wind turbines, instead of finding a manufacturing facility here in the United States, this is a U.S. company, is turning to China to produce them. I mean, what are we doing wrong? I know all the arguments that they have, of course, a more competitive workforce because their wages are so much lower. But what could we do to change the policies here? What could the politicians really start to do?
But again, that's the point I was trying to raise. China is really nationwide. Their policy is a policy goes through top down. We don't have that. It's really bottom up. And it's hard to, coordinate export policy, be able to finance, let's say, a project and stay